This is Shanmugam.
Hello, this is JP.
Good, great. So we're here to talk about data strategy. I know it's a hot topic right now, and it's kicking up a lot of steam. So why is it relevant now? A few years ago, we didn't talk about data strategy, and what happened now, JP?
So you're right. Before it was just Exponent and DDD, and what happened in the meantime is that there's been a huge development of data sources. There's many data sources now of different kinds: EMR, payer, syndicated, and so on. And one of the things is that the data sources, they don't quite talk with each other. So our problem today is to be able to pick the right data sources for a business question and combine them. So it's a problem that we have now, but that we didn't have yesterday.
Why are there so many new data sources?
That's a very good question. So there are many reasons for that. Number one is that if you see there was a shift from the small molecule to big molecule with specialty products, and the specialty products they require delicate handling and also patient education. So the SPs emerged to take care of this. So it's now the SPs that hold the data. And the company typically has a hub. And so the data is the face of the company, and the data is also held in the hub. So we have the hub and the SP, and we combine them. In some cases, we don't use SP, we use SDs. So we also have SDs as well. And when it is buy and bill, the oncologist typically would go get the data from the GPO because it gets a better price. And they bill separately. So you see right away we have the SP, we have the hub, we have the SD, we have the GPO. And then separately we have claims data. So we have claims from the syndicated sources and also from the payers. And then there's been the mushrooming lately of the EMRs that everyone's using and talking about. And and then the kind of smaller databases such as CDM, Charge Data Master Database, that basically document the usage of the drugs in the hospital. And then there's been the Freedom of Information Act, and CMS has come up and put up a lot of data sources. And you and I, we looked at there's at least, when we gave that presentation at PMSA, at least 10 databases that are very interesting. And I think probably the most interesting, or the most prominent one, I should say, is the Open Payments from Sunshine Act. So those are the different reasons why all of a sudden we have a plethora of databases, whereas before we had one or maybe two.
Typical situation where if I go hide under a rock and ignore this data strategy business completely, what do I stand to lose, JP?
I think it's a bit like, the way I want to think about it is like you're a cook, and now things have evolved, and you have a new crop of customers that are coming with different taste than the older customers. And those new customers, they're richer than the older customers. And so basically you have to know the taste of the new customers and what kinds of food and how to prepare them. And for you need to know about the ingredients. So maybe quinoa, right? You need to know about to cook the food for your new customers. First thing is working to deploy the wrong data sources. Right, so you're using the wrong data source to answer the question, and maybe give the wrong information, and maybe get the company to take the wrong decision. So that's
based on partial information.
Right. Or maybe it's kind of a little not quite correct. Right. The second one is you're not able to answer the question, and you believe that it's not answerable, and actually you don't have the data sources to answer the question, which is not good. And I think. And I think that the third thing that's happening is that your business intelligence is going to be poor, and your ROI is not very good. I mean, you're spending the money to buy the data sources, but you cannot really answer good questions, right? You provide good answers to the question that I asked you. So don't hide it under auction. It's a bad idea.
Let's move to downtown. I think, in my opinion, I see the problem to be a little straightforward, JP. There's a set of business questions from the brand plan that we need to answer, and there's a budget, and a good data strategy would allow us to maximize the ROI. Why is there a hesitation from the pharma manufacturers to in kind of achieving this balance?
I think there are a couple of things, Shanmugan. The first one is the fallacy of the one-stop shopping. So as a company, it's very convenient to go to one place and get all your data sources. But what also happens is that when you don't find the data source, within that, all the data sources you get from the one-stop shopping, you tend to believe that the data sources exist. And actually it exists, not all the time, but it may exist and outside. But we have this idea. It's a bit like we put blinders on the horse, right? You're going to look within what's happening.
Yeah.
So that, I think it's a problem, the one-stop shopping.
Yes.
And the second one is we tend to believe that there's a one-to-one mapping between the data, the business question, and the data solution. And oftentimes that's not the case. So you may have to merge several data sources to be able to answer the question. Right?
Great.
And I think the last one is we need a good system that you put in place that can house the patchwork of data sources you acquire. And when that's the case, we tend to believe it's an IT problem, and we address it purely from an IT standpoint. I think the problem is way bigger than IT, and that's why I think kind of the hiccups or difficulty has to do with those things we just talked about.
Oh, great. Yes, about the patchwork, yes, I remember a newsletter that we wrote, Combine and Conquer.
Yes.
Feel free to go check it out in our website.
Yes. Good point. Check it out. Good.
For example, I have a business question. So just wanted to get an idea about what is the thought process that you'd recommend for helping me get the most relevant databases.
That's a very good question that many people are asking.
Yes.
So I think we can look at this little chart over here, and hopefully you can see it. So we start off with the business objective. And coming up with the business objective actually is an exercise by itself, and what we typically do, we interview lots of people at the client to make sure what business questions are the most important ones. Of course, there are many business questions, but you want to focus on them. Say now we're focusing on the right one. At this point, what we need to do is to understand the data need. The data need, you can think of it as a bunch of fields in the database, right? And to be able to do that, actually, you need a very good understanding of the context. The more you've been in that therapeutic area, the more you know about the dynamics, the better you are to articulate the data need. Yeah. So you require some good expertise here to translate the business objective into the data need.
Yes.
And once we've got the data need, then this is kind of understanding what's out there, the data, what we call the data landscape here. Right? From the data landscape, you can say, okay, here's the data need, and this is the fields that they support and how I bring them together. Right? It could be just one or a combination of them. So there are basically three cases. One is the database exists off the shelf, and you grab it, or it's easy to see that maybe you can combine two different data sources, for example, expert and plan track, and say fingertip formulary if you want to look at the breakout of the RXs by tier, something like this. The second one, you look out there, there's no database, so you have to build it. So this is things like, combining several data sources together. Yeah. Right? So this is, you have to integrate, and this is where you need to be kind of clever here, how to combine those data sources, right? Triangulation and all that stuff. Yes. And the third one is, unfortunately, you look out there, there's no database to do it. One question would be, hey, I want to know what's the Medicaid utilization real time over the whole US. Well, the database doesn't exist. And at this point, you have to basically...
For last month or something.
Right, last month or even this year in 2017. So there's no way you have it. So at this point, you may want to recognize this is not your incompetence or the lack of, since you know the landscape very well, you know it doesn't have to do with the landscape, it's just not out there. Yeah. Right? In which case you need to reformulate the data need, and reformulation maybe, what happened, like until 2 years ago, and I'm not insisting to get the 50 states per DC, but maybe if I get it for the majority or the big state, then I'm okay. Yeah. So that's a question that you can answer, if you keep the original question, you can answer. Yes. Right?
So in your opinion, JP, what would you say is the secret sauce for a good data strategy?
Actually, there are two sources. The first one is to know the different data sources. And what I mean by knowing the data source is to know what they do, but also their caveats, and so the limitation and so on. And there are many of them. If you concentrate on the most useful data sources, actually in our latest counting, there were more useful data sources than there are elements in the periodic table. So we're talking about in excess of 125, and we have more than that. The second source is how to merge the data sources. And there's an industry initiative, Cupid by PMSA. Yes. And what it tries to do is to combine the different data sources by using the same encryption engine. And as you can guess, to get the whole industry to agree on this is a Herculean task, that stuff. So it's going to be solved in the meantime at the company level. This is what we can do. right? So I think the two cases, the case where you have PHI and the case where you do not have PHI.
Okay.
So when you have PHI, of course, it's better. You get the data vendors to use the PHI, use a third party, business, associate business, and combine them.
Yes.
But in all cases, there will be situations where you can get all the vendors to align to that. So maybe you get a few of them, but some not all of them. So you're left with the cases where the PHI is not there and the patient ID has been encrypted. So you need to have some algorithms to combine them. And I'm very happy to tell you that we have developed two algorithms to do that. So one algorithm combines an open data source with a closed data, an open data source with an open data source, which is a syndicated, and another one which combines an open data source with a closed one, which is syndicated and a payer. So in the first case, what it does, you have the physician that's exposed, and then the patient is encrypted. And the other one, the physician is exposed and the patient is encrypted. Different encryption engines.
Wow.
Right, because it's two different data sources, so it combines them. The second one's a little more subtle. What it does, the first one is same data, right? It's exposed physician ID, encrypted patient IDs, and the other one is encrypted physician ID and encrypted patients, of course, with a different encryption engine.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that we cracked this one and we can combine them. Right?
Wow, the second one should be even more challenging.
Yeah, and a lot more fun. Right? A little, tricky.
So I had a great time talking about data strategy with you, JP. And I wanted to know more about data strategy in a bigger picture too. Is there any resources or materials that you could share with us?
Sure, I just gave a presentation at PBI in Chicago right here a month ago in May.
Correct.
And I put together a few slides that basically laid out the foundation of a good data strategy. And if you're interested, send me an email. I would share it. I will give it to you. Sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's great. So appreciate your time, guys. So
JP here.
Shanmugam. Bye.
Bye.